Welcome back to another roundtable. My name is Adam. I have Rusman.
Hello, everyone.
And Victor.
Hi, everyone.
Thank you for joining us. And today we're going to talk about Nvidia and why this stock is going to the moon. So over the last 1 year, it has grown, as of this recording, almost 200%. Stock price, all right, over just 1 year. And we want to find out what's happening. Why is it going up so fast? And whether this is something that you want to jump onto, and what are the risks involved as well. So maybe just a really quick overview of their business, and then what is the exact segment that's doing so well that is causing this stock to just go to the moon.
Yep. So I think I just mentioned a bit of the financial first before we move on to the business.
Yep.
So I think a lot of before they went once all the way up, right? I think a lot of people was expecting like the sales to up 65%. Okay, but then when the second quarter result came out, they just up 100%, and the third quarter was like 200% on the year-on-year basis, right? And if you were to look on the profit side, their diluted earnings per share actually went up like 854% for their second quarter and 1000% for the third quarter. So the whole business actually just went ballistic upwards. And
ballistic is the word. So these are the latest 2 quarters.
Yes, correct.
So EPS 800%. I think it was 12 times for the most recent quarter. And revenue also jumped up really high, and it's because of the data center segment.
Yes, correct.
Right?
And also their gaming segment also.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if you were to look at the data center segment, let's say you talk about the from the third quarter, right? Their year-on-year growth is like 279% in terms of the revenue. Then you look at the gaming is about 81%. So these two segments actually push up, right? The whole business. And I think partly is because of the generative AI, right? I think they are on the trend of riding the AI trend, and their GPU have been bought up a lot, and also they are in very, very good position because they own about 95% of the GPU market share, right? So I think because of the so much hype about the AI and a lot of people want to do investment, so they managed to get a lot of order for their GPU from there. Yep.
So I think I was reading the TSMC transcript, and they actually says that the hype in AIs was actually caused by the ChatGPT. Since it went, when ChatGPT came out, right, a lot of people were like going crazy over it, right? Because there's so much use, in terms of work as a co-pilot, especially, right? And since then, I think TSMC, the management was actually saying that there was actually a lot of sudden surge of demand for GPUs, which is what Nvidia is really good at, and they are ahead of this sector. And so because of the lead, I think that actually caused the demand for the entire sector to go up. And of course, Nvidia being the main focus in GPUs, which is their core strength, they actually directly benefited from this rise of interest, right? So the currently there's a shortage of GPUs, or in fact as of 2023, and the shortage wasn't due to the supply chain issue, right? It was due to the sudden rise of interest of people who wants to buy the chips, and a lot of hyperscalers at Amazon, Azure, right, and Google. I mean, they all started to buy a massive ton of GPUs. And because there are a lot of enterprises now want to use AIs. Okay, so when there's a demand of AIs increase, of course your hyperscaler need to provide that capacity for them to use it. So they need to stock up and then put in spec in all these more GPU into their data centers. Okay. That's how I think Nvidia classified their data center segment. Actually, largely the demand actually come from most of these hyperscalers.
All right. So just to give you some context of how crazy this recent rise is. It's only been the last 2 quarters, because I've been following Nvidia since maybe 2017. Yep. Unfortunately, I didn't buy it. Okay. So that is my thing that I missed out on. But I've been following for some time, and the reason why I never got into Nvidia is because it was always like a proxy for crypto prices. So if Bitcoin did well, GPU sales will go up, and then you will see the stock price of Nvidia go up as well. And I never wanted to invest in a company that was a proxy of crypto, because I'm not interested in Bitcoin, for example. So there was a peak in 2017, it came down, another peak in 2021, if you remember Bitcoin prices, and then it came down again. So whenever there was a crash in crypto prices, Nvidia will always be affected. There will be the people will stop buying GPUs. There'll be a glut of secondhand GPUs on the market because these people are not mining anymore. That depresses prices and everything. And there was an overhang for the gaming sector, which is where they classify the crypto market for Nvidia. So because of all these things, the growth was very it was volatile.
Yep.
Yes.
Very volatile.
Yeah.
And gaming was the biggest segment at that point in time. And then all of a sudden, I think, like you said, ChatGPT was a catalyst.
Yeah.
And it just, when generative AI just became mainstream.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, every business wanted to get in on it, because they don't get in, they're going to lose out to the competitors and stuff. And they had to buy all these, like you said, GPUs to basically to fit out all the data centers for AI and stuff like that. And then the last 2 quarters, I still remember before the most recent 2 quarters, the 2 quarters before that, the data center growth was about in the teens. The revenue growth was about in the teens. And then all of a sudden, the last recent quarter was just 279%. Just went bam. That's crazy. I mean, from
above
like
everybo's expectation.
it was nuts. When I saw the earnings report that came out, I was like, what the, is there a typo? It was no typo, and it just went crazy. And I mean, everyone's now talking about Nvidia. I mean, rightfully so, because I think AI is. I'm pro AI, for example.
AI is here to stay, right?
I think it's here to stay.
It's different as compared to your cryptos
or metaverse. And the metaverse was another thing that was like very hyped up, but we don't know about that one. But AI has so many range of applications and users. It can just be. It's gonna. I think it will change the world.
Yes.
Maybe not overnight. We don't know. We can't say like the internet changed the world. It did, but I mean, it didn't change it overnight. You can say that, right?
But I think there's a lot of news about how AI can actually help a company be more efficient, reduce costs, right? So sometimes certain things, you require a human, but now you just need an AI. You can just remove the job, and this is what I call productivity, right? And it's very different from metaverse. Metaverse is just like a dream and all this. This one is like really efficiency and all this, right? And internet was also an efficiency thing, right? Right? So I think AI is definitely here to stay. I also think that so.
Yeah, I think for the next generation, like my kids, I think they'll grow up with AIs everywhere. Yeah. So that's what I think I foresee in the future. That's why the demand for cheap GPUs in the long term will continue to grow, right? But there is going to be some volatility in between, right? So the question with when or how much growth this kind of explosive growth for Nvidia will continue to go, right? We don't know.
That is the question.
That's
because
the big question,
it's grown 229% all of a sudden, and because of that, if that growth is maintained is a big question mark. Nvidia looks cheap in a sense,
yes, correct,
because the potential is outrageous. But the question is, can they actually maintain this amount of growth? So we're going to find out. We're going to discuss this right now and see what are the, maybe it could happen, it could not happen. So what do you guys think?
I mean, if you look on a P basis, right, they generally traded above their average, their medium. Because starting before the third quarter result, second and third quarter result came out, they are trading at very high P multiples, like 250. The moment the second quarter result came out, the third quarter result came out, their P dropped significantly because they grow significantly, right? So I think generally the P model is very hard to value them, because you don't know how they're going to outburst their earnings again, right? So it is still a question mark for me. I'm still trying to figure out how to value them also right now. I think P model is very hard to value them, right? Because of the tailwind that they're in, the market position that they're in, and the potential growth that they're in.
This kind of remind me of the time when in 2020 when there was a worldwide lockdown, there was a sudden huge demand for gloves. So there was a lot of orders, going into a lot of Malaysian glove manufacturers like Hatta Lega, Top Gloves, and then suddenly all of a sudden, because of the huge shortage of supply, all the glove prices all went up, right? And the demand suddenly all went up. And glove, if you look at the companies, their earnings at the time when they're reporting, they were like 10x, their earning, their bottom line. So at that point of time, if you will try to value them based on PE, it's not going to make sense. Because the next moment, let's say if you look at the PE is 100, crazy, you're going to pay for that company with PE for 100. But when the earnings come out, it double or quadruple, the PE can end up as 50 or even 25. So that is the the similarity that I'm seeing, but I'm not putting that they are similar because manufacturing a glove is a lot easier versus manufacturing a GPU chips.
And at the point of time, there was an increase in demand. So when the demand dropped, and because the glove expand their capacity, right, the supply become excess already. And that's why you look at those glove company, they are down even before pre-COVID, right? But if you look at Nvidia, they are in a tier V industry that is going to be there, right? So the demand is going to stay there. It's just that whether the demand is a lot more or a lot less, right? So they can be growing at 800% in terms of the quarter result, second quarter, third quarter, 1,000%. But the moment they maybe drop to, let's say, 100% or maybe 50%, then I think the expectation is lowered, and a lot of people will start to like bash the stocks, right? But you think about it, they're still growing very fast. It's just that the expectation now for Nvidia is very, very high. It's exactly like I think back in the 2020, 2021, it's like almost everybody I talk to, they talk about Tesla, and everyone they own Tesla. Out of 10 people I talk to, probably 7 or 8 people own Tesla. So now I talk to everybody's owning Nvidia. Right. So I'm not saying that the stock is bad. I think the tailwind in the future for Nvidia is very good. The storyline is down there. It's just that if you want to stay invested, you must be prepared to sit on the volatility.
Because what you're saying is that right now this is very exuberant. It's growing at what, 279% for the data centers data center segment. And then what you're saying is that it can continue to grow, but it grows at 100%, which is tremendous, by the way, or maybe 50%. But because of that slowing rate of growth, the market can just punish it.
Even though they are still growing, considered very fast.
So that's the risk of a stock like that because of all the I guess the hype around it. Right?
I think the demand for AI chips will stay. It's not like your glove where the demand was only during that pandemic period, right? 2020, 2021. But for GPUs, it's the long-term growth, right? The long-term trend for AIs is likely going to stay. It's just that at this year in 2023, there was a huge demand of these GPU chips, and at that moment, semiconductor industry is not a industry where it's prepared to cope with the sudden huge demand.
It's not like just in time.
Just in time. Okay, you suddenly I have a lot of demand coming. I can manufacture the next day everything I deliver to the market. No, you can't. Just like building a house, it takes 2-3 years, 4 years to plan out, and then you know that your plant capacity ahead. So the same thing with semiconductor industry, and even for TSMC when they plan for 3 nanometer chips this year. I mean, they have launched it last year. They actually plan it 3-4 years before, right? And they usually will, once they plan ahead their fab, the 3 nanometer fab, they will actually talk to Apple, Nvidia, and then they will say, what is your expected demand, right, in the next few years, and then we will allocate this capacity to you, right? And because of that, this sudden surge of demand for GPUs comes in, they just couldn't cope, right? And so that actually leads to the prices for these GPUs to actually go crazy, and suddenly they of course this will last for I think another few quarters, right? It's just that you don't know when. Once a hyperscaler receive the GPUs and they spec into the data center, you don't know whether they will continue to order the same amount of GPUs that they ordered compared to the year 2023, or they could have slowed down.
Or when will they change the GPU again?
Right. The next cycle.
Replacement cycle.
The next cycle. So typically once you spec in, it will last you for the next 3 years, 5 years, and of course the demand will continue to grow. All right, they will order more, but it could be the order more could be like still not as many as compared to 2023. So you don't know whether that is going to be higher or lower. So that's the challenging part with valuing this company right now because of that sudden surge of interest of what. And let's imagine that hyperscaler realize that the return on investment for AIs is not fantastic. So let's pull back our purchase of GPU chips for now. And because of the pullback, that will hit Nvidia right away.
So we are not saying that Nvidia will like crash like the glove stocks and all this. It just go up. When the demand start to drop slightly, they'll come until the next demand cycle comes, then they'll just surpass but it's just that it seems like it's going to be more volatile. So you must be able to take the volatility. right?
Yeah. So the thing about the semiconductor industry is that it's a semi-cyclical sector.
Okay.
Right. So of course, Nvidia right now they are at could be at the tip of the iceberg of this AI rise.
Oh, the start of the crest. Like the wave up,
but usually nowadays we receive news so fast. Everyone is like aware of AIs, and then of course suddenly there's a surge of demand for AIs. But then the next moment the thing could just die off.
Okay.
All right. But the demand will still be there. It's just that the cyclical part will kick in, and that's where there might be a correction. We don't know.
Okay.
Right. So that could be a potentially things could happen.
I think your experience with TSMC is actually very relevant when it comes to Nvidia, because you were studying TSMC, which is they manufacture the chips for Nvidia.
Yep.
So you kind of understand the supply chain that goes into this industry, and from what you know, that it takes time, like you said, to kit out everything. So when ChatGPT became mainstream, I think a year ago, you notice that the data center segments in Nvidia didn't really explode straight away.
Yeah,
it took some time because companies realize they need to get into AI, they order more chips, and that takes time.
Yeah, they need to plan.
And then it only manifested itself the last 2 quarters, and then you see the explosive growth.
Yeah.
And then now you have all these companies saying, I want all these chips, but you can't just like give them straight away.
Yeah.
It takes time. I think Nvidia is actually giving guidance of its growth over the next few quarters as well. And the management is actually pretty good at giving guidance. They're not too optimistic, but it's actually very strong growth numbers that they're projecting, and it's up to you to even take it with a pinch of salt. But Jensen Huang is one of the best CEOs out there, in my opinion, because he's really run Nvidia really, really well. But I think the risk is, like you said, the growth can still be there, but it could normalize. And then the market just punishes a lower growth rate, even though it's still growing. So I think you got to be very aware of those risks. But I think it's still a really exciting stock. I mean, I think if you're invested in Nvidia, I think you know all the good things about it. So we don't want to tell you so much about what's great about Nvidia, because you all know about it. We want to cover the risks that you have to be aware of if you get on this ride, and whether you're prepared to sit that roller coaster. If it's a roller coaster, I mean, it could just go up a long time. I don't know.
But nothing just keep going up.
I mean, I know.
Look at the stock market, nothing just
Tesla,
keep going. It's just up and down, up and down, up and down, but it's on an uptrend.
That's true.
Yeah, that's how the stock market works.
Because I mean, you pointed out Tesla is, no one's really talking about Tesla now, but it really went up for a very long time as well.
Yes,
Tesla
correct.
as well.
Yeah.
And people who have, there are people who have made fortunes out of Tesla.
But I think Tesla is able to run a long time because there's a lot of people who idolize Elon Musk.
Okay.
Right? Because he's the thing, right? So unless Jensen Huang can do the same thing like Elon Musk.
You think that's a big factor in Tesla?
I think partly because a lot of people feel Elon Musk is very visionary. And
I think he is actually.
Yeah. And that's why a lot of people believe in the vision that he's going to build for Tesla. And that's why everyone holding on to Tesla like
that's
diamond
true,
hands,
because EV was a totally new industry.
Yes, correct.
GPUs and chips. It's been around. Been around for
yes,
decades.
Correct. Yeah.
Right?
It's just that there's a sudden increase, not because of the GPU, but because of the AI, right? But for Tesla, is at that point of time, people are not talking about EV. He's creating a new industry from
new
there,
industry
right?
altogether.
It's a different thing actually. Yeah.
Okay, so I think we just wanted to balance the discussion, because like I said, we all know the good things about Nvidia. What are the blind spots that you might have missed out on? So I mean, I'm gonna just bring it back. Let's say if someone is watching this, they just feel like, hey, I want a piece of the action. Okay, no recommendation to buy or sell anything, but they say I want a piece of action. How would you approach it? How would you value the stock? How would you, I don't know, position size it, stuff like that?
Actually, I've been looking at Nvidia since 2017. Same time as when the day when you brought it up, when I look at the company, this is quite a good company. They've got a good business model. They don't need to have a lot of capex, right? So they outsource everything to the third party, TSMC, one of them, to manufacture it. So I look at their business, and at the time, AI was actually already at play. At that point in time, it's one of their key growth driver, and then even for the data centers, it has been growing at double digit, right? 20, 30, 40, 50%. So every time but at the point of time, they were driven a lot by the crypto, right? So there was suddenly a lot of people want to mine, so they bought a lot of GPUs, and then suddenly the next moment it crashed, and then you saw Nvidia price crash by 50%. And that was one of the best time to buy, all right? But then it happened so quickly, and usually during that point of time, you also wonder whether when is the next upcycle for this semiconductor or GPUs. You don't know. And then all of a sudden COVID came, and then suddenly people realized that, hey, chips are important, GPUs, all that, and the demand suddenly, boom, wow, all sky high again. That was in, I think, 2021. And then suddenly the tech crash again. Nvidia stock crashed by 60%.
It's quite a ride actually. It's quite a ride.
So I think I was looking at this stock and said, best time to buy them when there's a oversupply of chips, right? So or when crypto crash, so which is the case where it crashed, right, in 2021 or 2022, and that was leads to the lower demand in that. And all of a sudden this ChatGPT came out, and then we see last 2 quarters suddenly they break out all of a sudden. So it's like, you are trying to project the earnings for this company, your model is going to be 100% wrong because it's so difficult to look at this company. There's no predictability. There's they can explode, they can produce this kind of explosive result, but when the cycle pull back, you will see that they can tumble 70-50% easily. So you need to bear in mind. So every time when I look at this, it was very difficult for me to understand this stock actually.
That's true. So, and to pull the trigger, right? To go like, I mean, like you said, the best time to buy is when there's a crash.
Yes.
But then you keep wondering if it's always going to be pushed around by crypto prices. It's only recently, maybe the last year or less, that all of a sudden it's now an AI play. No longer a GPU or crypto thing. Because I know GPUs. I mean, I game myself. I want an Nvidia GPU in my laptop, right, for example. That's the best, but that's not going to give you explosive growth.
And in fact, I look at Nvidia, I look at their gaming, which is their key strength, but they are just dominating that PC market, right? And then that market has been like stagnant for a long time until COVID came, and then there's an accelerator that caused the spike, and then even then 2021 it drops again, and then recently it bounced back. So it's a bit cyclical to me. And then the data center is like I play everything, right? So so it's a bit difficult actually personally for me. And if you so until today I still don't know when is the best time to or how to get into Nvidia or how to play that. Maybe it's not that kind of strength that I'm in, or maybe I studied at TSMC, so I went to go through all the down cycle that and every semicon industry that I've gone through in the past, like 2000, 2001. Those can be scary time to be in that sector, right? So it's a bit difficult, a bit tricky, but they are at the forefront of technology, and that could subject to political risk also. What if China took over Taiwan one day? You don't know.
I think if that happens, right, you have more to worry about than just Nvidia.
So when they do that, then everything will change, because Nvidia, the whole GPU was actually being manufactured by TSMC. And TSMC is just right next to at Taiwan and right next to China. So the whole game might change. I don't know. So it's just a bit too difficult.
So it's just, I guess what you're saying is that if you do get on this ride, be prepared for whatever happens. I mean, you got a very good perspective, because those who are maybe new to investing or they're early into Nvidia and they just see what's happening now, the last 6 months or 1 year, and they see this crazy jump. But you've been following TSMC, Nvidia for, like, you zoom out, it's like that.
Even Apple,
and then you look at what happened in the past and you go like, oh, I'm scared of that. I don't want that to happen. I mean, I'd rather not have that happen, right? And then you bring it back to what's happening today. What can I do? That tempers your exuberance for a stock like Nvidia.
But I think the most important thing is to get yourself grounded. Because when you buy into something and it just went up and you suddenly become wealthy, you really feels that you are on top of the world. So at the end of the day, you also must be clear. It's a good business, but a good business can be a bad investment if you pay at the wrong price also. Right. So paying at the right price is also very important. If you stay in the investment, you believe in it, you are able to ride volatility, good for you. But if you are those who can't ride the volatility when it crash, then you get panic when you sell, then probably you should not have a bigger percentage stake, right? Your position sizing should be a smaller stake, right? So even when it goes up and down, right, you don't trigger your emotions. You are able to handle it. Imagine you put like 100% of your wealth inside. I got friends who I was saying, like, dollar cost average on Tesla, the Tesla go up and down. His heart is really going up and down, So I mean, do you want to live your day every day like this or not? I mean, you do not want, right? Investing is supposed to be some peaceful way of accumulating wealth and all this. Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess, I mean, this is how I would approach it. If I am interested in Nvidia, I would never go in 100% because it's just too volatile.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm positive about AI and the long-term potential of that. But that can play out like 5, 10, 20 years. We don't know.
Yeah.
What will happen in the next 3 to 5 years is going to be a question mark. But if I'm interested, I would actually initiate for myself. I mean, you can nibble a bit.
Correct.
You know, a really small position. If you don't want to if you have a bit of FOMO, right?
Yeah.
You can go but again, there's greed that's coming in. But you know, it's a bit tricky. Like, how do you get in with what price and all that?
Yeah, it really depends. I have friends who go through the venture cap strategy.
Yeah.
Right. They
that makes sense.
1% in like all those like hyper growth stocks and all this. Right.
Yeah.
Eventually, probably only 10% or maybe 20% of the stocks done well, but the 80% of just all gone.
Yeah.
Right. But the 10 or 20% just went up like 100 times, 1,000 times. You can just cover everything already.
Okay.
Right. So that's another strategy. So you must be very clear of your strategy when you come
Or
to
you
invest
just
in all
buy
this.
the alternatives, of AIs that is going to benefit from this rise, right? Microsoft is so obvious, right? They own 50% stake in ChatGPTs.
Yeah. OpenAI. Yeah.
OpenAI. So that will be the direct play.
The other place, it just doesn't have to. Just doesn't have to be Nvidia.
Yeah.
It can be other things.
It can be other things.
It can
right?
be
Nvidia.
ETF, right?
It could be ETF as well.
ETF and AI as well. Or that makes sense too. It doesn't have to be all or nothing.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think that's the thing that we wanted to share when it came to Nvidia. I mean we've been following for some time. We just never really talked about it because, like I said, because of crypto and its volatility and all that. We don't want to. We prefer. I mean, I don't know about you now. We like stable companies that are easy to predict.
I like to sleep peacefully.
Yeah. But Nvidia has a very compelling case for growth over the next. We don't know how many quarters or years. It's really up to you if you want to get onto that, right? So again, no recommendation by yourself. Please do your due diligence about semiconductors, GPUs and all that. How are you going to stay? How is Nvidia going to stay at the forefront
correct
of the technology and maintain their protect their moat and everything. So that's something you need to be very aware of. Do your research, and if you do get in, make sure you're not betting the house. And you have. I mean, it goes up, it's great. It goes down, it's fine. Because it's a portfolio thing. It's not just one single stock. So we hope that that kind of helps you out if you're trying to think about this. Is there anything you want to share about Nvidia at this point?
No, I hope you continue to rise. So Adam Khoo will be happy.
Yes, Adam Khoo has a stake in it. So I remember chatting with Adam Khoo. If you watched our roundtable, I think it was early Jan, right? I think at the point Nvidia was about $500, and now it's $615 at this point of recording. So at this how fast it just went up. It's just crazy.
And of course, our editors also have stake in Nvidia. So continue to rise.
She's doing really well with that. So, is it 5 times, 6, 7 times?
6 times. Yeah,
amazing. It's
she should be here.
So people who work with us actually do well in their stocks as well.
Yes.
Anyway, So anyway, that's what we think about Nvidia. I think there's a lot of potential, but do be aware of blind spots as well. Okay. So with that, my name is Adam. That is Ruslan. That is Victor. Thank you so much for watching this. Any questions about Nvidia, feel free to put them in the comment section. We can answer them for you. If you like this roundtable, please hit the like button. And of course, subscribe to our channel. Many more roundtables come up. And we'll see you again.